Hello YouTube, this is the Weichi Cannon. I am back. I don't know if I'm better, but I'm back. This is going to be a very short vlog, just keeping you updated. I have been gone for... shit, I don't even know how long I've been gone for. I think 14 days, I think. And pretty much working all day, every day. Well, actually, I was working all day, every day, not pretty much. But yeah, I'm back, so we should get back to the regular show shortly. But I just wanted to keep you updated about the situation going on down south. They are, how do I put it lightly, fucked. Fucked is a good word. So I started off in Calgary, Alberta, and they were hit. They were hit really, really good, and I happened to have been chosen as part of the crew who was going to the most hit portion of Calgary. And I'm not familiar with Calgary really well, you know, I know certain portions, but they're just like, hey, who wants to take Rideau? I was like, I'll take the Rideau neighborhood, sure, why not? Turns out that's the neighborhood that they had floodwaters coming up from, actually, what does it be, it reached the ceilings of their basement, so their whole entire basement was covered in water, and then some. Like, there were people who had 10-foot basements that were full of water, and the water had come up to the middle of their kitchen, like the middle of the walls on their kitchen on their main floor. Like, it's just a whole bunch of water, and it's not clean water. It's silty water, muddy water, shitty water from all the systems and everything, and plus the river added onto that. So these people, lots and lots of heartache. But I saw the most amazing thing ever when I was down there, and it was the solidarity of the Calgarians, man. They are, I don't know, I don't even know how to put it into words. These people are probably the nicest people that I've ever met. Now, granted, I think that the best of people come out in the worst of times, you know what I mean? I'm not talking like those people who snap and shit when their car gets broken into. That's not what I mean. It's just the solidarity of people seems to be super evident when there's a natural disaster. So there's people out there who had absolutely nothing at all. Like, their houses were destroyed, and they were walking down the street, and they had bought water bottles for everybody, and they were just walking down the street with a wagon full of water or full of food or whatever that they had bought themselves, and they were just giving it to all sorts of volunteers, man. Speaking of volunteers, there were thousands of volunteers down there, man. Just people who had a day off of work who went down to help people take out old furnaces or take out their water heater, rip out drywall and stuff. It was really, really cool, man. Not a cool situation to be in, but it was really, for lack of a better word, it was amazing to see how much love there was amongst complete strangers. It was absolutely incredible. Now, what was the worst part about Calgary for me? I came across an old guy that I was helping out with his gas. That sounds funny. I was helping an old man with his gas. No, there was a house that had been, they cut the gas off to for safety reasons. And I went to this old guy's house, and I was like, what do you have running on gas? And he says, oh, my furnace and my hot water heater. I also have a range. I'd really like to have use of my range, because then I could boil water to be able to drink it. And I was like, holy shit, this guy's been going for however many days without, you know, clean water. He's had to go and make the trek out and buy giant bottled water. So what I did was I hooked this guy up with gas just for his range. So I cut out all the appliances that were destroyed by water, and I gave him that gas back. And somewhere along the lines, he had mentioned that this is not the worst disaster he's ever seen, but it's the worst disaster he's ever been in. And I said, man, I really feel bad for you, man. I don't know what I would do if I were to lose my house. And he says to me, he goes, you know what? It's not really my house that bothers me. It's what I have in the front yard that bothers me. And I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, I have an early 1930s motorcycle out front. And I go, oh, my jaw drops, man. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, there's a motorcycle out front. And I go, okay, I think I lied to you. I think I could handle the lost house, but I wouldn't be able to handle a lost motorcycle. So he asks me, he goes, are you a motorcyclist? I say, yeah. I love my motorcycle. I don't know where I'd be without my motorcycle. Like, it's my pride and joy. And he goes, well, then you'll understand this story. And he tells me about his dad. This guy, I should let you know about this guy. He was probably in his late 70s or early 80s. And he was British. So he had this matchless motorcycle. No electronics on it. It was all like old school. Basically, if there was an EMP attack, this guy would be totally good because his motorcycle would run. So this guy says, yeah, the motorcycle in the front is a matchless and it's from the early 30s. And I go, oh, no way. That's terrible, man. That breaks my heart. He goes, not as much as it breaks my heart. I was like, what do you mean? He says, my dad owned that motorcycle and did a tour of Madagascar on it. And I was like, oh, no way. He's like, and I had that motorcycle. My dad willed it to me, and I had that motorcycle in Malaysia. And I have a picture of me on that motorcycle if you'd like to see it. I said, absolutely, I'd like to see it. So he goes, takes out his, funny enough, this old guy had an iPhone, takes out his iPhone and he goes, oh man, it is super windy, by the way. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm pretty sure you can. The helmet's getting forced into my face. Anyways, he pulls out this iPhone and he's got a picture of his dad on the left-hand side wearing like the safari gear, sitting on this matchless motorcycle with the safari hat all in white. And it's really, really cool picture. And it's right next to a picture of him in Malaysia with the safari hat, all dressed in the same gear, in the same pose as his dad. And he's like, I've spent years restoring this motorcycle. And it breaks my heart that it's ruined. And I looked at him, I was like, you know what? It's only ruined for now. It's not ruined forever. And he's like, I like your spirit. I really appreciate that. So he's like, would you like to see it? I said, absolutely. So we go over to this guy's front yard, and he's telling me the story about how when the floods came, it actually washed the motorcycle away, and he actually found it down the road a fair bit, and he brought it back home. So he lifts the tarp off of this motorcycle, and it's just destroyed, man. It was black and chrome. The chrome was all ripped up and stuff because it had been dragging against rocks and things, and oh man, it was a sad moment. That was the saddest moment I ever had while working this flood relief in Calgary, Alberta. And I know that sounds terrible because there's people who lost their homes and stuff, but for me it just hit home. This old man who not only lost his house was 100 years old, but he also lost his most valued possession, which was this motorcycle. Anyway, so from Calgary, I moved on to a place that was hit worse. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you call worse. A place called High River. Now, when I got to High River, there was still houses that were completely underwater. And that, if you've never seen a house underwater, which I doubt many of you have, it's quite the sight, you know. It's very humbling because these people, their whole lives were in those houses or on those farms that were covered in water. And anyways, I got there and I saw, like, I was thinking I should be posting pictures during this this vlog of the pictures I took out there. I needed to take pictures for meetings that we were having about the flood and safety meetings and such for my company. But you know what? I don't think it's right for me to post the pictures, so I hope that doesn't bother you guys. Back to my story. I was in High River, and I was driving my truck through 4 feet of water. Like, there's still water that was left on these main streets. And I think High River was hit worse than Calgary because High River's smaller, and there's basically no real hills in High River. So there were houses that were completely spared, which was excellent to see, but there were also houses that weren't only flooded with water, they were like backed up with sewers, so there was literally shit in these people's basement. I'm not talking small amounts of shit, I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 feet of shit and mud, and it was just an awful sight. However, that being said, these people also were forced to evacuate, like mandatory evacuation via police and military. So to add insult to injury, the police also had to kick open their doors to make sure nobody was in the house, because they kicked open every single door in High River and evacuated people. So they kicked them open, walked through, made sure there was nobody in there, and then went on to the next house, kicked open the doors and stuff. So it was kind of disheartening to see these people who, and I was there before these people even got access back to their homes. So keep this in mind when I say the next thing. I was there when these people got to their houses. Not only were they extremely upset that, you know, their basements were full of shit, some people's houses were completely destroyed. There were boats and cars and everything that were just strewn about like little, what are those, micro machine cars that I had when I was a kid? Anyways, so these people also had to come home to their doors having been kicked open and completely destroyed. Like, there's no way to lock these doors. And these people have no drinking water. The water that's coming out of the tap is black and considered to be extremely poisonous. Holy shit, that guy's just motoring. Now I feel like I'm driving slow. Gotta speed up, gotta speed up. So yeah, it was black and poisonous. I mean, it's to the point where people, okay, let's put it this way. There was a volunteer in High River. He was 17 years old. 17 years old. Went to go help out an old couple with their basement, help moving stuff. He ended up with a scratch on his hand that drew blood, by the way. It was a scratch that drew blood. And he ended up with necrotizing fasciitis. So for those of you who don't know, that is the flesh-eating disease. And this kid has been given 3 to 4 months to live. And that is completely heart-wrenching and sad. So this kid who went to go help somebody out ends up effectively signing his own death warrant, which sucks. Anyways, back onto the good news. A lot of people ended up with natural gas to be able to boil water with, so that takes care of the issue of no drinking water and no hot water to clean things and stuff like that. On to the even better news. The Waichi Cannon is back. I don't know how often I'm going to be posting videos, or even how well this video turned out because of the wind in my face. But this is the first time on my bike in half a month at least, and I love it. I don't care how noisy it is, and I don't care how much wind is in my face. So until next time, my lovelies, remember that the Waichi Cannon loves every last one of you guys, except for you. I love you even more. Until next time, boys and girls, have a gooder. If you're flooding, stay dry. Other than that, just keep a smile on your face and know that life could be worse. See you later, boys and girls.